Yo, what's up? It's Len here. I'm just gonna talk about basically what I learned as a noob. I haven't played any ARPGs like Diablo or even the POE one, so I barely know stuff. Not to mention, I literally have not reached the end game. So this is basically what I discovered before reaching the end game. So I still think this cruel mode is basically just a bit of a difficulty. It's not that hard. Since you're just repeating the same thing since it's early access, they're probably gonna change that. So the first thing that I discovered is settings. Messing around in the settings is basically the first thing I did, and it's probably one of the most important thing in this game because there's this setting, but there's also the setting for filtered items and item filter. So the moment that I discovered this, I asked the chat. They basically, you know, there's 50% chance that people in the chat, global chat, will like listen to you or like answer your stuff, your questions, and also 50% chance that they're just gonna call you a loser and other stuff, but they're kind of useful in a way. So try to interact with them. Besides trading, I haven't done a lot of trading. I don't think trading is like not worth it on early game, basically on act 1 2 until cruelty, unless you reach end game. But there are a lot of useful items. Unless you're like stuck on a level, you're probably gonna need that, but I don't really know how that works because there's no trading in game. Like, you have to go to the site and it's kind of complicated. I'm not gonna talk about that for now, but so yeah, yes, that is very important. So the options, after that you should check in the options. There are stuff that is very important, especially in the gameplay. You can show your life, or if you're summoning minions, you can even show them and also highlight. This one is, I always activate this. You should check other options like the input method. I'm doing the WASD movement because I'm more used to it, but you should definitely check whatever is like you're used or you're more comfortable. There's also the button is probably good on other class, like the melee class. I think it's very useful. Okay, so as you see, dodge is probably the most important thing in this game. It doesn't matter if you're like any other class. Dodge is like, it's just an insane modifier for like evasion, right? You can dodge huge hits and also like the area AOU damage, like the fire and the ground, the shock, or the freeze. It's better to roll over them. You just spacebar. And also about that, there's this end. I don't think it's end game, but it's ascendancy, which you don't have to get hit. Which is, I think it's the honor system, and you're gonna be using dodge a lot. Like, dodge is like the one of the things that you're probably gonna be investing besides honor resist, because it's very useful. Next is a skill gem. You're gonna get a lot of this. Just like, you have to keep in mind that you can keep getting this like non-stop. Like, I have like a lot of this in here, and you're gonna need them. Like, you're super gonna need them because that's like what you get the skill. And with that in mind, one of the things that I'm probably gonna recommend, and also something that I just discovered myself, is that you can go beyond your weapon type. Basically, skill gems are weapon skills, which Usually you're locked behind your skill, but you realize this that there are some skills that doesn't require weapon, right? Like 13 and 14, they are the levels of some skills, but they have requirements of bow or the staff, like this. And if you check all gems, you can see all of them, but if you check one of the each type weapon type, you can check that there are some open slots, open skills that you can use without the need of the weapon, like this one. This is probably pretty good. You can even see the skill, right? Which is pretty insane. So I could use this and basically have an AoE bow, but I already freeze a lot, so I don't think it's necessary. But I think it's very good to experiment, since I found this out like in Act 1 Cruel, and ever since I found it out, it's like a game changer. Like in Act 1 to 3, all I've been using in Act 1 is basic hit. Like I've been treating lightning arrow like just as a skill that you can't do anything beyond that, you know. Act 3, I've been using lightning arrow and lightning rod. Like after I reach Act 1, I keep dying. Like it's crazy how much I died in Act 1 and Act 1 of here. It's so insanely difficult versus this two that I realized I should change. Then I realized eye shot, you know. Eye shot is like very OP for in my opinion. In I don't think eye shot itself is, but I think it's the freeze mechanic, you know. If you can see in my gameplay, like freezing is like insane. See, if you're freezing the enemies, I don't think you're gonna be having issues about like running into a lot of them and getting, yeah, you're just keeping them in bay, you know. You're not getting swarmed, and also you don't have to worry about like getting hit multiple times if you're freezing them. That's why like investing and checking around, I already tried all of this. Like I decided to play poison, and it's good, but I think you need to invest on a different type of damage. I think it's chaos. Yeah, it says here. And also the issue with that is like it doesn't stack, and it's just low damage over time. So if you're gonna play this, I think you're gonna need like survival, while like you're poisoning the enemy, and then you're running around. So I just found out that ice skills are super helpful in surviving in this game, because if you can freeze them, look at this, just like insane. Like I just found this out because I've been struggling with lightning arrow. Like lightning arrow is good, but spamming this and shooting it with arrow is like, it's not ideal in a way for clearing the map and like surviving enemies. Like you're just gonna get swarmed. So I think this is super good. Freeze is very good. Like in any other class, I think freeze can be used, but especially in ranged, I think it's one of the best. So skill gems, you should always experiment. So I use all of this too, because see, it doesn't require any weapon type. You can use them. Like you can use this even in early game. Like you can shoot arrows through it, and it would have an effect. Like if you're using basic hit and you use this, you're basically hitting fire arrow. Like it's insane how much like customization. Like you can even type here fire. So all of this will flame, fire damage, ice, critical. I don't think. Yeah, this one. So currently there's not an issue with me right now because I'm clearing currently. I'm not reaching any game yet, but it's very useful to experiment. Like just keep experimenting. There's so much of this. Like you can spend all of this. It's so cheap too. Like I saw that you can use some people said it's so cheap that you can just use them all around. So you can even get all of the skills, but you should always get stuff that will like synergize with your build. So next, I'll probably talk about the passive skill. So I discovered, like, as a noob, this is overwhelming. Like, this is a very overwhelming thing. But when you realize that you're just getting what you need, like if you're here, you either get this. Oh, attribute is nice, but this is probably more helpful, right? So I pick this. Like, you can use to pick this, but you're gonna probably pick this, right? Unless you need evasion, and I don't really know evasion, but I keep picking it because I think evasion is better than armor. So I just keep getting evasion. So another thing is, if you keep doing that, what I said, like picking whatever you think is very useful. Also, avoid trying to take all of everything. Yeah, avoid taking everything, because there's only enough skill points, but you can refund, which is especially for this node. You can refund them in the spot, so you don't need to remove everything. You can just click them and refund. So that's one thing I discovered. So I did a lot of refunding, because currently I got this weapon, I mean this unique, which give me 300% critical bonus. Yeah, so I decided to spec on critical. So I've been searching here. This is the best, your best friend. So if you stay critical, it will just glow this. I think I wish they have another way to make this more visible, because if you look at this far away, it's not that visible. Like, make it yellow or red or anything else. Make it shine more, so you can see it more, because it's kind of hard. So once you find that, you find the best route. By that, I think you should find is the shortest route. Basically, this is the shortest, because if you get this and go around, you're basically taking more line or nodes, and that's not efficient unless there's something here that, like, it's good. This one is crit chance, but I'm not doing these, so I don't think it's good. And this one, I'm not using quarter stuff, so I just went here because I also need this, so it's a good win-win situation, right? So after that, another thing that I realized is like weapon or armor. Weapons and armor, like this one, I got this one, and you realize there's this. I just noticed that you can alt and inspect and shift to compare. But if you do that, you can see there's tier 3, tier 4, life. You know, I realized this is super important because lower weapon level has like weaker tiers. So upon realizing that, I realized that like you shouldn't invest too much on early game item sets. It's like those are interchangeable. In endgame, you're probably gonna get higher item level, so you're just gonna replace them. So you shouldn't invest too much in them. But that's what you're gonna have to look forward to, is that item tiers are very helpful because they give higher chance. And then you can spec this up with gems, like this one. This is like, we can pivot now to gems or currency, and this is like one of those shit. This corrupted this and didn't do anything. I didn't know that this is random. Like, it's really unpredictable. Like, I just corrupted this and it's nothing. And I made a mistake that you should use all of the currencies that you can use to the item before using it. This is like the last. This thing is your last option. You should always use this when it's like you already maxed this out, like max quality, max gems. That's like very important thing that I discovered on Act 3 cruelty. Like this act, like I just discovered that that's how it works, and I've been using it on anything that I can put on, like skill gems. You can use this, like this. See, I got this three slots. After putting this, it just got 4. That's like insane because it just gave me like over 1,000 DPS, and it's a game changer. So next is a weapon tier. You think like this is good, this is good. That's what I realized. All of these are good, but this thing like white weapons, you shouldn't underestimate them. Like I've been ignoring this stuff, but ever since I've been trying to get into crafting, like crafting a weapon, like putting modifiers in it, it's like a game changer. This lightning, I don't really need this because I'm dealing ice, but this could be good since I'm specking, but I cannot scale over 300%, so I shouldn't get crit damage. So any crit damage is a crit hit chance, crit hit chance. Any crit damage is basically a bad thing for me. I only need crit hit chance. That's why in the nodes, I don't get the crit hit chance, like crit hit, crit hit. This is kind of bad, but I have to go through here and here. I'm not getting damage bonus because it's not ideal, because I'm not getting past 300%. So I have no choice but to get that, but you shouldn't get any crit damage bonus because it's not gonna help. So there's tier, like you should always pick. Check this one, obviously useless. There's not quality. You cannot like use the bench to disassemble this. You're not gonna get like the scraps. So this, you can get this because there's a socket. Yeah, and that this you can get an item here because there's a quality. I'm gonna show you that. So I'm gonna show you about that. So very first thing you should do that I discovered is that always go to this guy and get your stuff identified. 10 items identified. That's a free one, and it's very useful. So next, yep, I got some stuff. Yeah, but this, you can actually get a lot of value from her by disenchanting, right? This is a 310. That's not as good. I'm gonna disenchant this. I'm not gonna disenchant. This is wait, this is good. Nope. I think movement speed is super important. I always get it. I don't need critical damage. I don't need this, and this is kind of bad. Done. And the other weapon, this is where you go, salvage bench. So this is like, this has quality. So if you do that, it's gonna turn into this. This has socket, this big hole. We're gonna go to that, and this one. Yep. Even if that one was a rare, I'm still gonna use this because it's kind of useful. Because if we go towards here, and I have this stash tab, I bought all of this. Basically, I just bought one of each. I have this. I don't know what this works for. This, I have uniques like this, but I still, it's just good because doesn't fill all your other tabs. But this one, you have a lot of skill gems. That's why I'm telling you to always use this. And this one, it's not as good. And anyway, I'm gonna show you is the currency. Is that the moment you get the stuff, like I'm gonna put this, you can stack it to 10 times and it becomes one of this. And you can put this in anything, like in anything that glows. This one, see, you can put this one. And I'm gonna put physical damage, this or this, elemental resistance. Think I'm gonna get armor, mana, resistance, trust, and I honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna put this. because it lets me dodge more. Now it's got 681 evasion. I got 40 increased evasion. I think that's good. So that's what I do, and I put this stuff here because it like stacks, and then you can use this to upgrade quality. So in the armor, it's not that great, but it just increases this whenever you have higher quality. This one I fucked up, and this one I don't know what this one's for. I've just been collecting them because the filter shows that they're valuable, and that's it. That. Also, one thing I forgot about the armor section or stuff is that always collect rings and amulets. You don't always collect those because you can like reforge them, which is kind of cool, and you can fish for like better stats that you kind of need. But it's early game, so I don't know if it's worth it right now, but I just collect them because resistances I think is kind of important, especially that flaming ground. Just one taps you, it's insane. That's why you collect resistances from gems and from rings. That's why I just saved them, especially this one. I saved this too because I think you can reforge them, right? And next I'm gonna show you what's like my build, like how I made this build. So now I'm gonna tell you what I discovered in like making build. So I just told you about eye shot and stuff earlier, so I'm gonna tell you how I like spec into it. So one thing to learn is like after experimenting skills, it's like you're gonna realize like your basically main clearing skill. Like I don't think you can get like a single skill like just become that OP. So this is like my for mobs. I think there are other classes who can probably just focus on one skill, but for me, I have this. Like, it's so good, right? It's freezing down. I'm not taking damage. I realize it's like freeze is OP. Higher freeze is like so good. So I spec on that, like I shot. And one thing you realize, like if you click on the gem and if you remove it, it like changes that damage, and that's how I spec into what gem I should put. And there are other stuff like this one. You can't see the damage change, but the effect on like the terrain or like on fight is like very visible. Like it's bouncing back and forth. It's like, I think that's like double damage. It's very useful. So like after like identifying like your core mob skill, basically your skill that you're basically pressing left click or all the time, it's gonna have to have like a very low cost mana. So this is good. Or like lightning arrow, 27 mana. This very slow, so you can use this as like basically your clear spell for clearing mobs or basically doing DPS. So there are other skills like this. This just costs like insane. This is very very low, but this one, some skills cost insane amount of mana, especially if you put like gems. Like they even double on mana cost. Like this one's like 108. So like imagine if you spam that, my mana is gonna be depleted. Like that's not efficient. Oh, after realizing that, you should focus like one skill that you can shoot around and another skill or a combination that will be useful for like boss fights. Excuse me. So this is like my combo. This, you get this from other skills. So after getting this, cast on shock, cast on freeze, I get the cast on shock and cast on freeze. I tried this all around. I don't have cast on ignite because I don't really have like a fire skill. I don't have firebow, but yeah, you should always check around. So there's also this one, but I think the most useful one is like cast on freeze, because bow basically 50% freeze after 2 hits. Freeze. Peace. And it's increasing this thing. I think that's called energy. I discovered that like this is pretty good. If I can freeze them instantly, it's just better idea to like get this. So after getting that, cast and freeze, I can put another skill. I put the frost wall. The reason for that is I tried all of the ice. Like I tried all of the ice skills. I don't know, this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, I tried all of the ice skills. I tried this. I tried this, and this one. All of this, not that good. Especially this one. I tried this one because I think it's gonna be good because it's like inflict critical weakness. Like that's good. But if you put this in here in that skill, it's just making this low. But this one, if I put this one, it's just so fast to get energy. That's why I'm using that. And also it's kind of helpful. Like I put fortress to make it a circle, but you can remove this and make this a wall. If I put this here, it's just becoming a wall. I use this to make a circle because it kind of traps mobs. Like if there are elites, like if I freeze them, they're gonna be inside the circle. But see, just make it that. It's actually insane. Like if I make that wall, some attacks like don't get past the wall. Yeah, so basically it's becoming a shield for me, and I can also hit it. Like I can hit that and it's gonna explode. That's insane. I just discovered that. So after discovering that, I just keep on experimenting. You know, find what's good, and you know you can make your own build. Focus on one skill and like make it good, right? See, this guy is dying already. This is like ricochet, so it's very useful to have that double damage. And I guess that's it. I haven't reached any game, so I don't know what else to discover. I just discovered this on Act 1 to Act 3 cruelty, this act. So I can probably find more, but I have no idea about endgame. So this is gonna be a lot of fun experimenting. After this, I'm probably gonna try other classes.